Let's get right into it. Number 1. The happiest place on Earth. You know Disneyland? The place of magic, churros, and pixie dust. But what if I told you the happiest place on Earth has a few skeletons in its closet? And I mean that literally. When the Pirates of the Caribbean ride first opened in 1967, the Imagineers felt the fake skeletons of the time looked a little unconvincing. Their solution? They sourced real human skeletons from the UCLA Medical Center and used them as props. Over the years, most have been replaced with fakes, but rumor has it, a few of the originals are still hanging around, like the skull and crossbones on the headboard in the treasure room. So next time you're on that ride, give a little wave to the real Pirates of the Caribbean.watchmojo.com, and the weirdness doesn't stop there. The park's opening day on July 17, 1955, was a complete disaster. So much so that it's now known as Black Sunday. Counterfeit tickets led to massive overcrowding, rides broke down, and food ran out. To top it all off, a gas leak in Fantasyland forced a temporary closure of that section of the park. It's a miracle the place ever recovered, and if that's not enough, there are the tunnels. Walt Disney, ever the perfectionist, hated seeing costumed characters in the wrong land. A cowboy in Tomorrowland? Unacceptable. His solution was to build a network of underground tunnels called utilitors, so cast members could move around unseen. So while you're enjoying the magic above, there's a whole other world scurrying around right under your feet. Number 2. Your local park. That nice little park down the street, the one with the cheerful playground and the suspiciously well-fed squirrels. It might be sitting on a graveyard. No, seriously. Throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, as cities expanded faster than they could plan, they ran into a problem: what to do with all the dead people. Cemeteries that were once on the outskirts of town were suddenly prime real estate. The solution was often morbidly practical: just build a park on top. Take Washington Square Park in New York City. Before, it was a hub for artists, street performers, and NYU students. It was a potter's field, a burial ground for the poor, the unknown, and victims of yellow fever epidemics. An estimated 20,000 bodies are still buried beneath the grass. So, when you're having a picnic there, you're basically dining with a few centuries of forgotten New Yorkers. The same story applies to Lincoln Park in Chicago, which was built over the city's first cemetery. While they tried to move all the bodies, the 1871 Great Chicago Fire destroyed the wooden grave markers, making it impossible to find them all. Thousands of graves remain, including a massive tomb that was just left there. So, that relaxing stroll through the park, you're literally walking on forgotten history and a whole lot of bones. It gives a whole new meaning to the term pushing up daisies. Number 3. The supermarket. The supermarket. A modern marvel of convenience, a brightly lit temple of consumerism where you can buy everything from avocados to Ziploc bags. But this seemingly innocent place is a master of psychological manipulation, designed to make you spend more money than you ever intended. Ever notice how the fresh produce and flowers are always right at the entrance? That's not an accident. The vibrant colors and fresh smells put you in a good mood, making you more susceptible to impulse buys later on. It's like the store is giving you a little welcome bouquet before it gently picks your pocket. Then there's the layout. The essential items, milk, eggs, bread are almost always at the back of the store, forcing you to walk through a maze of tempting, unnecessary junk food to get to them. It's a gauntlet of cookies, chips, and soda, and your willpower is the only thing standing between you and a cart full of regret and the music. That slow, calming elevator music isn't for your enjoyment. It's designed to make you slow down, wander the aisles longer, and, you guessed it, buy more stuff. They're basically hypnotizing you with smooth jazz. So the next time you go in for a gallon of milk and come out with a family-sized bag of cheese puffs, a novelty pineapple slicer, and a vague sense of shame, don't blame yourself. You never stood a chance. Number 4. The London Underground. The London Underground, or the Tube, is a daily necessity for millions of Londoners. It's a sprawling, noisy, and often uncomfortably crowded network that gets you from A to B. But this modern transit system is built on layers of plague, death, and forgotten history. When they started digging these tunnels in the 19th century, they weren't just moving dirt. They were digging through centuries of London's buried past. Aldgate Station, for instance, is built directly on top of a massive plague pit, a mass grave, containing over 1,000 bodies from the Great Plague of 1665. So, every time you tap your Oyster card there, you're essentially entering a tomb, and it gets weirder. During World War II, parts of the tube were converted into air raid shelters, saving thousands of lives. But they also served as secret government bunkers and even housed an entire aircraft factory, hidden away in a half-finished section of the Central Line. Imagine an entire factory churning out fighter plane parts right under the feet of unsuspecting commuters. Then there are the ghosts. The tube is famously haunted, with countless stories of phantom passengers, spectral workers, and even a ghostly nun who wanders the tunnels of Bank Station. It makes sense when you build a subway system through ancient burial grounds, secret war bunkers, and the literal bones of the city. You're bound to pick up a few permanent residents who missed their stop. Number 5. Your doctor's office. Walking into a doctor's office is a unique experience. The sterile smell, the questionable art on the walls, the stack of magazines from 2011, it's all designed to feel clean, safe, and professional. But one of the most common tools in that office has a surprisingly dark and frankly embarrassing origin story: the stethoscope. Before the 1800s, if a doctor wanted to listen to your heart or lungs, they had to press their ear directly against your chest. This was awkward for everyone involved, especially when the patient was a woman. Enter René Léonnec, a French physician who, in 1816, was faced with a young female patient. He was too embarrassed to perform the traditional ear-to-chest method. So, in a moment of brilliant improvisation, he rolled up a sheet of paper into a tube, placed one end on her chest and the other to his ear. He was shocked to find that the sound was not only clear, but amplified. He had just invented the precursor to the modern stethoscope, all because he was trying to avoid a socially awkward situation. So that cold metal disc the doctor presses against your back, it exists thanks to a 19th century doctor's sense of modesty. It's a powerful medical instrument born from pure, unadulterated awkwardness. Number 6. The post office. The post office seems like one of the most mundane places on the planet. It's a place of stamps, long lines, and the faint papery smell of bureaucracy. But, for a brief, bizarre period in American history, the post office was involved in human trafficking, sort of. In 1913, when the U.S. Postal Service launched its parcel post service, the regulations were a little vague. They specified a weight limit, initially 11 pounds, later raised to 50, but didn't explicitly say what you couldn't mail. So, enterprising parents in rural areas, realizing it was cheaper to mail their children than to buy them a train ticket, did just that. Yes, people mailed their children. The first known case was a baby boy in Ohio, whose parents paid 15 cents in postage to send him 1 mile to his grandmother's house. The mail carrier just carried him over. The most famous case was that of Mae Piersdorf, a 5-year-old girl who was mailed 73 miles across Idaho in 1914. Her parents affixed 53 cents worth of stamps to her coat and sent her on her way in the train's mail compartment. This trend became popular enough that the Postmaster General had to issue a formal regulation in 1920, explicitly banning the mailing of human beings. So, next time you're waiting in line to mail a package, just remember that a little over a century ago, you could have been standing behind a couple trying to ship their toddler to grandma's for the weekend. Number 7. The beach. A day at the beach is the universal symbol of relaxation. Sun, sand, waves. What could be more perfect? Well, that beautiful soft sand you're wiggling your toes in is actually a mix of tiny rocks, minerals, and a whole lot of biological waste, specifically fish poop. Parrotfish, for example, are famous for their unique diet. They eat coral. They bite off chunks of it, digest the algae, and then excrete the inorganic coral skeleton as fine white sand. A single parrotfish can produce hundreds of pounds of sand every year. So, that pristine white sand beach in Hawaii, you're basically lounging on a giant collective fish toilet. But it's not just fish poop. The sand on many beaches is also composed of the ground-up skeletons and shells of countless marine organisms. Foraminifera, tiny single-celled creatures with calcium carbonate shells, are a major contributor. When they die, Their microscopic shells sink to the ocean floor and eventually wash ashore, becoming part of the sand. So every handful of sand is a graveyard of billions of tiny sea creatures. It's a beautiful, sprawling cemetery that we just happen to find relaxing. It kind of puts a new spin on building a sandcastle, doesn't it? You're not just building a castle, you're building it from the skeletal remains of the dead and the digestive byproducts of the living. Enjoy your vacation. Number 8. The libraries are sanctuaries of silence and knowledge, places where the loudest sound is the gentle rustle of a turning page. But these quiet halls have a dark and surprisingly gross secret. Book mold. Old books, especially those that have been sitting on shelves for decades, are breeding grounds for a whole host of fungi and mold spores. When you open an old tome and get that distinctive old book smell, you're not just smelling paper and ink. You're inhaling a cocktail of volatile organic compounds released by decaying materials and microscopic life. It's the sweet, musty perfume of decomposition. This isn't just a little bit of dust either. In some cases, libraries have had to deal with massive, toxic mold outbreaks that can pose a serious health risk to librarians and patrons. Certain types of book mold can cause respiratory problems, allergic reactions, and even neurological issues. It's a phenomenon sometimes called sick building syndrome, but for libraries. So, while you're peacefully browsing the classics, you could be breathing in a microscopic cloud of fungal spores that have been feasting on centuries of literature. It gives a whole new meaning to the phrase, devouring a good book. The books are, in a way, devouring themselves from the inside out, and you're just there to breathe in the fumes. Number 9. The vending machine, the humble vending machine, a glowing beacon of hope when you're stuck at the office late and need a midnight snack. It's a simple transaction: money in, chips out. What could possibly be dark about that? Well, statistically speaking, that machine is more likely to kill you than a shark is. No, that's not a joke. According to data from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, vending machines are responsible for an average of 2 to 3 deaths per year in the United States. Sharks, on the other hand, kill an average of 1 person every 2 years. In the U.S. HOW, does a machine full of candy bars become a deadly weapon? Human frustration. The vast majority of these deaths occur when someone gets angry that their snack got stuck and decides to shake or rock the machine to dislodge it. These things are incredibly heavy and top-heavy, weighing anywhere from 600 to 900 pounds. When they tip over, they can easily crush a person. It's a tragic, absurd, and frankly, a very embarrassing way to go. You fought the machine, and the machine won. So next time your bag of pretzels gets caught on the little metal spiral, take a deep breath and walk away. Your life is worth more than $1.50's worth of salted carbs. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.